When did you go to the Korean War?
I was drafted in 1950.
Okay. By the Army? Army?
Yeah,
What unit did you go with?
45th.
Okay. How long did you stay in Korea?
I was in Japan 9 months and I went to Korea for 9 months.
Okay.
I went to Hokkaido, Japan first. I was in Hokkaido 9 months and I went from Hokkaido to Korea for about 9 months.
So what did you do? What was your job?
Infantry.
Okay. So what was a day like over in Japan or Korea? What was your typical day like?
Try to stay warm and keep your feet from freezing. When we first went over, we didn't have the good boots. After I was there a while, they gave us some boots where you didn't have to wear as much socks. First boots they gave us, you had to wear about 6 pairs of socks.
Mm.
A lot of socks. I don't know whether it's 6 pairs or not. But a lot of when I was in Japan, we didn't have no trouble staying warm. We lived in Quonset huts. And up in Hokkaido, we just did most of garrison duty there. We'd walk so much a day. It's just something to keep you busy.
So what kind of training did you have?
What kind of training?
Yeah.
Just infantry training, regular hand-to-hand combat, and just how to take care of yourself. And of course the good thing about the Army, they give you 3 meals a day. Even no matter how bad they are. I've eat ration 17 days in a row, 3 meals a day. That's when I was in Korea.
So did you ever get into any of the battles with the Koreans?
Oh yes, we used to we'd go out at night and we'd sit up in a kind of a circle, and we'd sit there at night, see if anybody was moving. We didn't do no actual hand-to-hand combat, no. But that's right where it was. And one night we were out on parole, and I was standing in the middle of a creek when a flare went off, and I didn't know where to lay down or get up to move, so I just stood still. When that flare went out, I didn't want to lay down in that river. Cold it was.
Was that your first experience with the firefights? First experience with battle with them?
Do what?
Was that your first time in battle with them?
Well, we actually didn't do any battle.
Okay.
We just I actually pulled most of the guard duty when I was in Korea. We'd stay on 2 hours and 2 off. It's so cold you couldn't stay out there for 2 hours at a time. We lived in dugouts. But the biggest trouble we had was staying warm. The weather. But I have been out on parole. Just that's the three of us. But we lucky we didn't run into anybody. We wasn't really looking for anybody we could find it, we could help it.
You had some brothers to serve in Korea too, didn't you?
David's the oldest. Alton and Benny, they didn't serve in Korea. Alton was in the Navy, and Benny was in the Air Force. He was stationed at Louisiana, Benny.
David went to Korea, didn't he?
Hmm?
David went to Korea, didn't he?
It was in Korea, but
Okay.
it was in the Korea time zone. But they didn't serve in Korea, either one of them.
Okay.
I was laughing the other day. I telling somebody I bought bear everywhere in the United States, in Korea, and Japan, Korea, and Chicago. And when I come back home, I went over to Whiteville to get a cold beer, and they asked me how old I was. It's that funny. I've been all over around the world. I've been through the Panama Canal, and but they asked me how old I was. That's the only time I was ever asked how old I was, when I was in Whiteville to buy a beer. But I wasn't very old. I was just a kid. We went through the Panama Canal, around to California, and then from California to Hokkaido. There's 6,000 men on that one ship.
Hmm.
I had a good friend from Mississippi, Rennick, and he was one of my best friends. I mean, you get close to people when you're off 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a guy in West Tennessee, he smoked cigars. And he came out on deck that morning with that big cigar, and he set this puffs on it. Next morning he come out, he didn't have no cigar. He got seasick. That damn sleeve was so rough. You had to hold your plate to eat when we left California. That locked the ship down where the water wouldn't come inside. But you just had to hold your plate in place to eat. It's rough. But I never did get sick but one time. That's when I went to Japan to Hokkaido. We sitting there one night playing rook on the ship, and I got sick, and the first thing I could see was a bucket. So I filled that bucket up, and that's the only time I ever got sick.
One time isn't bad, is it? One time is a pretty good record, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I was on the ship 30 days from when I went to the Panama Canal. You know what the Panama Canal is, I guess? Mm-hmm. They cut a trench all the way from the east to west coast.
Different culture over there, isn't it? Huh? It's a different world over there.
Yeah, yeah.
How long altogether did you stay in the Army?
I was in the Army 2 years. David was 2 years. Alton and Benny was 4. Alton and Benny volunteered. They drafted me. I didn't have to stay but 2 years, but if you volunteered, you had to stay 4. But Alton was in the Navy. He was in charge of a gunnery on the ship. He was on the road of the ship most of the time. And Benny, he was in Louisiana, Shreveport, and I was in Camp Polk. Camp Polk, it's when I was in the States, and we went from Camp Polk. Got on a ship and got on a ship in New Orleans. It was winter time when we was in Camp Polk. First time it snowed there in 20 years, they said.
Mm.
We were out in it all the time. I wasn't no big fighting man. I ain't got no real tall stories to tell you.
That's all right.
How many they killed and everything.
That's all right. Sometimes that's just a little better, isn't it? Sometimes that's just a little better, isn't it?
I did what I had to do, and that was it. Did you see my picture?
Mm-mm.
I thought Diane carried a picture up there.
Oh, she carried the one of all four of you together. Yeah, she gave me the one of all four of you.
I've been in show career long several times.
Oh, okay. Look just a little bit younger there. Just a little bit younger.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just a kid. In fact, I never had been nowhere except the picture shows by Oliver.
Oh, really?
That's the first I've ever been away from home. But, well, I made it. You can do what you have to do sometimes.
That's true.
I thought that's a pretty good picture.
That is a good photo.
Had a lot of hair and...
Makes you look a little younger now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what did you think of the Korean people?
I didn't see too much of them. That's where we lived, and I stayed in that hole last 17 days. That's my friend, Rennick from Mississippi. He lives down at that place at the Girl College in Mississippi. You know where that is?
Mm-hmm.
That's where he lived. He was a good friend of mine. But we slept in that hole last 17 days.
Do what you have to do, right?
Yeah. Eat save rations. But, I don't know. You want to look through these?
Sure, those from Korea.
Yeah.
Sure.
This old guy's from Middleton, and this is Ed Davis, and it's me there. That's taken while I was in career.
Okay.
Ed Davis, he's dead. Old Luke is still living.
So you were in the same unit with Ed? Were you in the same unit with Ed?
Yeah,
Okay.
same company.